It was 1846 when Harold Thome's great-grandfather immigrated from Germany and began growing peaches, then apples, on the ridge. Today, Harold is somewhat retired, with his son Steve taking the reins of Thome Orchards, with his son Mitch involved as well. Innovation on their 220 acres is prevalent, with 150 in apples. They're using drip irrigation, essential on their high-density trees, supported by 2-wire trellis and bamboo stakes, equating to more apples per acre. They're using a custom-made orchard platform from Phil Brown Welding for thinning and stringing the trellis. And to help alleviate loss due to freeze, Thomes have 7 wind machines spread throughout.
80 to 90% of our production is all on trellis now. We're not real large, but we're highly motivated to keep our orchards young by removing and replanting. When I was a kid planting trees with my dad, we planted 40 by 40 foot spacings, which was about 37 to 40 trees the acre. I've heard it both ways, but now we're down by 3 by 12, which is right around 1,000 trees plus to the acre. And the beauty of it is, about the 3rd year we're getting into production. When a tree gets a half a bushel, just multiply that times 1,000 and you got your yield per acre.
Harold has always been on the lookout for mutations, of which 3 were identified at Thome Orchards: the Empire, Ida Red, and Jonathan. Today they're growing 13 different varieties, being stored for the first time in their new controlled atmosphere storage facility. It was installed in the spring of 2015 and went fully operational in the fall.
This is a new system is using a chiller, and it's using high cool, and it is chilling a liquid and putting it into the room through the coils. It's called secondary cooling. And the other things is where everything is wireless, or can be accessed wireless through the internet. We're hooked right up, so we can monitor right from our phones or our iPads, whatever we want to monitor through. Everything can be adjusted. Not that I think we will make many adjustments as we go, but we can also get alarms, alerts, text message, emails stating that we have a problem and to address our problem. To have Mitch, my son, coming in, he didn't want to go to college. We decided University of Thome Orchards was going to be the best thing he decided it was going to be the best thing for him. And he's picked it up very fast. It really makes you want to be more progressive in farming with another generation following you up.
In the early 1960s, Harold Thome, along with his brother Mark, were the first growers to provide apples to Jack Brown Produce, and they've been doing so ever since.
Thomes are excellent growers. They have done a great job of renovating their orchards, keeping up with what the latest trends are as far as varieties, planting systems, keeping their orchards young so that they grow top quality fruit off these young, productive systems. One thing Harold has done, he's taken time to get away from the farm, to travel to other growing areas, whether it be within the state, within other areas here in the U.S., or even other areas wherever it might be across the world.
Those travels in part were related to the work of the International Fruit Tree Association, and because of what Harold learned, Thome Orchards today is committed to the use of dwarf fruit trees, growing them in their high-density fashion. And the success in their utilization comes in part from their long-standing work with Phil Schwalier with MSU Extension.
The Thomes here at Thome Farms have been involved in my hedging work for the last 4 or 5 years, and in the past we have taken hedgers and we've come through and we've sawn the side of the trees and the tops of the trees. This is like in the 60s and 70s, and the problem with that was we were on a semi-dwarf and a full standard type tree, and those hedging cuts were a disaster because they made more growth. They blew out new growth and vigorous response to the hedging. But now, today, we're hedging again, but now we're on a precocious rootstock, very productive rootstock with lots of fruit on the trees, so the tree is very calm. And now we hedge and we get a side benefit of having flower buds develop. So the hedging holds the tree in its space, lets more light into the orchard, into the tree and into the orchard, gets better red color, better fruit quality on the tree, and the side benefit, it promotes flowering if you do it at the right time. And all the varieties are different, and so we're learning what varieties benefit the best from hedging.
Along with Harold's work with MSU Extension, he served as president of the Michigan Hort Society, who honored him in 2014 with their Distinguished Service Award, and was president of the Michigan Palmsters, who named him their 2010 Apple Person of the Year. By his side since 1960 is his wife JoAnn, a nurse by profession. Along with being active with the Women for the Survival of Agriculture, she served the industry as the first woman president of the U.S. Apple Association. For years, she handled the financials on the farm, that role now taken over by Steve's wife, Missy. Away from the orchard, Harold has a love for his old tractors. 10 in all, his latest restoration was a 1945 McCormick Deering 04 orchard tractor in full dress. Along with parades, 2015 was the 8th year he's made the trek across the Mackinac Bridge.
This year there was 1,091 of us went across, and it's a real fun time because I love to see tractors and I love to talk to people, but some of the guys you talk to, they don't give a damn about yours. It's all about theirs.
Finally, on a personal note from MSU Extension's Phil Schwoyer, he says it's great to have such a working relationship with the Thomes, but he's also just very sorry that Harold's son Steve is a Wolverine fan. And though there's some question of allegiance on a sporting level, there's no question at all to the dedication these 4th, 5th, and 6th generation apple growers have for their industry.